The Eurovision Song Contest is the world's biggest non-sporting event and attracts an audience of over 160 million. Yes, that's far bigger than the Super Bowl halftime show. Every year in May, around 40 countries, give or take, from across Europe and
just a little bit more,
compete against each other to be able to officially and legitimately brag that their music is better than everyone else's. But if you're a newcomer to all things Eurovision,
firstly, where have you been?
And secondly, welcome. Maybe you're an American wondering what this Eurovision thing is in that backwater they call Europe, and why isn't America in it? Because, you know, America is the greatest country in the world. Or perhaps you've been a fan longer than you've been alive and are watching this video just for the sheer hell of it. Whoever you are and wherever you're from, join us, open up and come together.
Grab your towels, it's time to come together.
As we present to you the ultimate guide to the Eurovision Song Contest. It's the 1950s and a committee from the European Broadcasting Union met in London to come up with an initiative to promote cooperation between broadcasters and experiment with the latest in television technology, which back then was probably whatever brand of black and white camera was all the rage. Many cups of tea and numerous biscuits later, they had the answer: a song contest. Plus, if the official slogan of the contest is to be believed, there's nothing like the power of music to make everybody friends again after half of Europe had just fallen out with the other. Now, if you're wondering if the EBU is a child or cousin or granddaughter or the wife's brother's girlfriend's uncle great-nephew of the EU, well, it's not. The European Union is a political and economic alliance between European countries. The European Broadcasting Union, on the other hand, is an alliance between public service broadcasters from across Europe and
just a little bit more.
Broadcasters from other parts of the world can be associate members, but Eurovision is usually off limits, except for Australia, but you'll always get one that's singled out for special treatment. So how does it all work? Most countries compete in one of two semi-finals held on Tuesday or Thursday for a coveted spot in the grand final on the Saturday. The top 10 from each semi-final are then joined by the host country and a group of countries known as the Big Five. These countries, France, Germany, Italy, Spain and the United Kingdom, pay a larger participation fee and therefore get automatic qualification to the final as a perk. It's controversial, but necessary to keep the contest financially sustainable. Each country sends one act with an original song that is no more than 3 minutes in length. There was an orchestra for many decades, but in the late 90s, that became old school and totally uncool, so now the instrumentation is pre-recorded. However, lead vocals must be live. Lip-syncing and auto-tune are a big no-no. All participants have to be at least 16 years old. The kids, well, they have their own contest. And while you can't have live animals on stage, you can have a turkey puppet insult the rest of Europe.
Drag acts and bad acts and Terry Wogan's wig. It was mad acts and sad acts. It was Johnny Logan's gig.
Swearing, or cursing for you American viewers, isn't allowed, nor are overtly political or propagandist songs and statements.
We don't want to put in the negative mood. It's killing the crew.
Eurovision is a great place to discover new artists, be exposed to different cultures, and expand your taste in music. What can you expect? Well, enjoy this sample of some of the most iconic Eurovision acts.
I was defeated, you won the war. Waterloo, promise to love me forevermore. Waterloo, we wanna see some more. Bringing the rules of the game will let you find the one you're looking for. And then you can show that you think you know. You're making your mind up. Don't let your
Tantiwać OkraJoe. No, no, no. Malachi.
I want you to see I'm in love with a fairy tale, even though it hurts, 'cause I don't care if I lose my mind. I'm already I'm not your toy.
Now, some of those songs you may recognise because Eurovision has been a great platform to launch artists into the mainstream. The likes of ABBA, Celine Dion, Måneskin and Rosalind all saw huge international success as a result of participating in the contest. Many recent artists such as Sam Ryder, Loreen and Karja have seen much success too and have been nominated for and even won prestigious awards. Being a competition, there must be some sort of voting procedure, right? Of course there is. Exact rules and details have changed over the years, but the current format is as follows. Each participating country awards 2 sets of points from 1 to 12 for their top 10. One set is from the audience, while the other comes from a jury of music industry professionals, such as artists, choreographers, producers, radio DJs and vocal coaches. To keep things fair, neither the public nor the jury are allowed to vote for their own country. Fans in non-participating countries get to vote too, and their votes are consolidated into an extra batch of points known as the Rest of the World vote. Other countries may not be able to take part, but will happily take your money. Surprise, surprise, the country with the most points in the grand final wins. The artist gets a shiny glass trophy to take home, and the winning country gets the honour, or burden, of hosting the next contest. According to Eurovision folklore, some countries deliberately send entries that aren't likely to win because organising and putting on such a monstrous production on this scale in 12 months is not for the faint-hearted. And it's expensive. While the bill may be nowhere close to the FIFA World Cup or the Olympics, it's still not cheap, although host cities can and do see huge returns. At any rate, hosting is a great privilege. It's a chance for the country to promote their music and culture, and for the host broadcaster to show off how great they are at putting on a big live TV production. Unless it's Italy, in which case they make a right hash of it. Like many things, the Eurovision Song Contest has a fan following that borders on being a cult. Seriously, we even mark the equinox. So now you know everything you need to and
Just a little bit, a little bit more.
about the Eurovision Song Contest, let's conclude with some comments about fans about what Eurovision means to them and why they love it so much.
Normally this sort of question isn't an easy one to answer, because since it's so big now, there's not really one answer to say why people love it. But I love it in the sense of you never really know what you're going to get. Down from the different artists, to what song they could send, even down to the staging. You don't know until May. So it's that bit I love, seeing what's new, what's coming. But also you may find that artist that you really, really like, but you never would have discovered if you weren't following Eurovision.
Eurovision means a whole lot to me. I've been moving around Europe since I was 3 years old, and I don't really feel like I have a home country, but I do have a home continent. And it's wonderful to have this lovely celebration of all of the various music genres and artists across Europe, and to be able to get to know a bit of each language every single year, get to know artists that I never would have come across otherwise, and to celebrate the diversity from all across Europe. As a bit of a trivia nerd, it's also wonderful to seemingly never run out of statistics to learn about who got how many points from who and who won when and all of that kind of stuff. The community that's been built up around Eurovision is also wonderful, and I love discussing it to no end, even though to me who wins doesn't even really matter that much in the end. My favourites the last 2 years have both been in the bottom 20, and I don't really care because they're great bands that I get to enjoy forevermore, potentially.
And I would say Eurovision means a lot to me in my life. For me, it has shaped in what I've become as a person, in how my mentality functions, but also shows what type of personality I have got to the outside world. To begin with, I always put on a neutral face when it comes to other countries' songs, and I've always stated my opinions, no matter how good or bad the song can be. Sometimes it can be unique, sometimes it can be not. But I'm always set in stone in terms of my opinions, no matter if people try to change my mind, which I think is fantastic to have. But I will say is that I always do get behind the UK entry. So I'm always a little bit biased when it comes to the UK entry. Apart from 1 year, which was 2015. The less said about that, the better. I also love how it brings all sorts of different countries, cultures, always into the song competition. So you get different flamencos, different Eastern culture, Scandinavian, and of course everything from the West as well. I also love the fact that the fans just wave their flag no matter who is singing, which is just fantastic to see. But probably my most favourite element of Eurovision is the scoreboard and the voting procedure. It's the main thing that I think sets apart Eurovision from other types of music-based competitions, and it's also probably the only thing whereby you get to see who finishes where and just have a good old moan to see how bad the UK have done again.
Eurovision means to me connecting with people all over the world, and both like sharing our love for music and just communicating with that. Like, I can talk to someone in, I don't know, Romania about how Monaco sent a song about nuclear war way long ago, or even I can hear stories about people who went to Eurovision who have disabilities, and I can learn about that. I can hear about all these sorts of different lifestyles and cultures and uniqueness, and even if we can't speak the same language, we still all share the same language of music, and that's what really connects us, and that's why I love Eurovision.
I think for me, the main reason initially I became a fan of Eurovision and why I fell in love with it was because of the music style and just the general feel of the whole contest. You know, a lot more of these melodramatic, over-the-top, anthemic sounding songs that you don't necessarily get in mainstream pop nowadays really connected with me when I first became a fan. And, you know, the contest has changed over time to suit the, you know, more of the style mod. I'm not saying the contest isn't modern, but it has more of an emphasis of grandeur, which I thoroughly enjoy. And aside from that, you know, some of my main highlights in life have just come from attending events such as pre-parties, actual Eurovision itself, and Euro clubs around the world. You've got to love Euro clubs. If you don't love Euro club, you are dead inside. And yeah, they're moments I'll cherish forever. It's allowed me to travel places that I haven't been before, and most importantly, I've built such a great friendship group within Eurovision, which, you know, hopefully I will speak to these people for a long time, you know, going on from this. And yeah, that's all of that encapsulated is why I think the contest is so special.